Over time, higher costs and sluggish wage growth have left more Americans financially vulnerable. Many are what's known as ALICes. Nearly 40 million families, or 29% of the population, fall in the ALICE category: asset limited, income constrained, employed, according to United Way's United for ALICE program, which first coined the term to refer to households earning above the poverty line but less than what's needed to get by. That figure doesn't include the 37.9 million Americans who live in poverty, which accounts for another 11.5% of the total population, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. More from Personal Finance. Cash savers still have an opportunity to beat inflation. Here's what's wrong with TikTok's viral savings challenges. The strong U.S. job market is in a sweet spot, economists say. ALICE is the nation's child care workers, home health aides and cashiers heralded during the pandemic. Those working low-wage jobs, with little or no savings and one emergency from poverty, said Stephanie Hoops, National Director at United for ALICE. The term ALICE essentially describes what people in the lower middle class have seen for decades. They can just cover current needs but not easily generate a surplus to cover the cost of a home or investments like stocks or bonds, said Columbia Business School economics professor Brett House. It's an acute situation for more people now than a few years ago, House added. Stubborn inflation has driven many households near the breaking point, but the pain of high prices has not been shared equally. By most measures, low-income households have been hardest hit, experts say. The lowest-paid workers spend more of their income on necessities such as food, rent and gas, categories that also experienced higher-than-average inflation spikes. The ALICE households, in particular, have borne the brunt of inflation, said Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate.com. Even though we've seen wage growth on the low to moderate income scale, that's also where inflation has hit the hardest. Inflation has been a persistent problem since the COVID-19 pandemic, when price increases soared to their highest levels since the early 1980s. The Federal Reserve responded with a series of interest rate hikes that took its benchmark rate to its highest level in more than 22 years. The spike in interest rates caused most consumer borrowing costs to skyrocket, putting many households under pressure. Inflation continues to prove stickier than expected, dashing hopes that the Fed will be able to cut interest rates anytime soon. Increasing inflation has also been bad news for workers, as real average hourly earnings rose just 0.6% over the past year, according to the Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics. Recent statements by Fed Chair Jerome Powell and other policymakers also cemented the notion that rate cuts aren't coming just yet. That leaves ALICes in a bind, Hoops said.